Okay, so let's talk about how to create a scrumptious recipe book. I'm sure you've all got a collection of your favourite recipes lying around the house, or like me, in a folder with plastic sleeves all over the place. Well, wouldn't it be great to make a proper coffee table book out of all those fabulous recipes? It's something that you'll be able to refer to yourself when you're cooking, but also it may be an important part of your family history that you want to pass down to future generations. So the process to create a recipe book is similar to travel albums or wedding albums that I've talked about before, but let's have a closer look. So I'm going to talk about deciding how to categorize your recipes and photos, choosing your theme and product type, adding your recipe and photos to the album, enhancing the page to get the best effects, and saving your own page styles. All right, let's get started. So firstly, how do you decide how to categorize your recipes? Well, there are a few ways you can do it. You may want to put them in the same order that you would be serving the dishes in. So you might want to put them as entrees, then mains, then desserts. Or you could categorize them even further and say you could have different topics like soups, dips, chicken dishes, other meat dishes, vegetarian dishes, and then desserts, that sort of thing. Alternatively, you could order the book in terms of whose dish it is. So you might put all of Nana's special dishes together and then all Bob's dishes, etc. Alternatively, you don't have to have any particular order. You might just want to put your recipes in as you like them. It is a good idea to sort your recipes and photos into folders on your computer before you get started. And that's going to make things much easier for you. So I'm going to show you what I've done. So I've created a folder in my documents and I've called it recipes. And inside there, I've created separate folders for each recipe that I have. So you can see there's a folder here for carrot and zucchini fritters, etc., etc. And inside each folder, for example, the one I'm going to do today is Rocky Road, I have photos that I want to use for the album, and I've got a Word document with my recipe that I have typed out. Some recipes you'll have typed, others you may have got from cookbooks, or you may have printed them out, whatever. We'll talk about that a bit later, but you need to have your recipe at hand somewhere. Okay, so once you've got your photos and recipes all sorted, the next thing you do is actually let's start the book. So this is our download editor, which most of you will be familiar with, and we're going to start a new project. And the first thing to do here is to choose what product type and theme that you want to create. I'm going to do a classic photo book. So I think lay flats are probably a bit bulky and heavy for a cookbook. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I think a classic book has lighter weight pages, might be easier. In terms of theme, we don't have a specific recipe theme, and it is a perfect opportunity for you to get creative here, design your own pages that you can then save and reuse, and I'll show you how to do that. It's tricky to have a specific theme because it is quite subjective. So let's choose the build your own theme. And then in terms of size, which will come up in a second, size is up to you, but I find that for a cookbook, probably either an 8 by 11 inch portrait or an 8 by 8 inch square is going to work the best. I've done a little bit of experimenting and I've found the 8 by 8 inch square is a good size for me. So I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to choose a photo cover for the cover so that it gives you the opportunity to highlight one of your favorite recipes on the cover, and you can put some text to go with it, make it nice and glossy and shiny. So we'll click next. Adding photos. So we'll add photos from my computer. We'll just add one folder. So for now, I'm just going, oops, that's not there. I'm just going to add, hang on, what have I done? Let's go back to my documents and my recipes, and I'm just going to add the Rocky Road folder for now. So we'll click select, and there's the photos from there. We'll click next, and we're going to just call it our or family cookbook and click create. And that'll open up in a minute. So once it opens up, we probably don't need this anymore. We'll be able to get started. And the first thing will be to start putting your photos and your text in. For the cover, as I mentioned, it might be nice to put our favorite recipe or something that looks great, make it look like a stunning book. Here's my, we won't upgrade it for now. Here's my cover. I might just pop this page style on, and this Rocky Road recipe is fantastic. So I'll just, yeah, that looks nicely centered there. So I'll just add that. It is a bit going onto the back cover, so I might just move it over a little bit, but something like that. And then underneath you could have our family cookbook or whatever it is. You can add that. I'm not so worried about the cover today. I want to spend more time showing you how to do your pages. So page 1, I would suggest keeping as just an introduction page. You could have photos of all the people who have contributed recipes to the book, and say who they are. You might want to do a dedication or just have a little blurb about what the book's about your favorite recipes or about the family or whatever sounds good to you. And you could even have a contents page, so you could have page numbers and say what recipes are on each page. So next we'll start with the double page spread, so pages 2 and 3, and it is probably better to keep each recipe to a double page. It gives you an opportunity to put a lovely full page photo of the finished product there, and then a more descriptive page next to it telling you how to make the recipe and some photos that show you how to prepare it. Again, it's completely up to you, but this is one way you can do it. So I've got a double page here. I'm going to pop our Rocky Road picture on the left, and I'm going to fit it to the whole page. So I right click on it, and this is where my computer starts thinking for a little bit. Hopefully it won't take too long. So yeah, so we're going to click on fit and fit to page. And again, I need to crop it. So you double click on it to crop it. And I just drag my cropping screen over a little bit so that the center of the Rocky Road is on the page. Beautiful. And then on my right-hand page, I'm going to add my recipe. So first I'm going to add one text box, and it always goes in the middle of the left page. So we'll just move it up here. This is going to be for my title. And I have put my text into a Word document. So I'll bring up my Word document here. It's called Jamie's Rocky Road. And so I'm just going to copy that text, go back to my project, double click into my text box and paste. And there's the text. We'll format it a little bit later. I'm going to add another text box, pop that here, somewhere here, and we'll go back to my Word document. I'm going to copy the ingredients. So Control C if you're on a PC to copy, and double click on my text box and paste. I will fix the formatting in a minute. And then we're going to add one more text box down here, and we're going to go back to my Word document and copy the method down here and paste it by double clicking in here and paste. Now, my first problem is that my text is too big, so it is going over the edge of the box. So next we can format our text. So let's format this one first since we're already in it. I can highlight it all by pressing Control A, or if you're on a Mac, Command A. I'm going to change the size to 12 because 12 is absolutely fine for reading. And you can choose any font you want from your computer. Actually, I'm going to choose Century Gothic just because that's one that Jamie likes and he's the one who made the book. I mean the recipe. We're still a bit big, so we have to stretch our box to our text box. There you go. So now it fits. We don't have an error saying that doesn't fit. And we're going to do the same with this one. So Control A to highlight everything. We'll change it to Century Gothic. If I can find it. It will change the font size to 12. And there you go, it fits nicely now. Although we might make it a little bit wider so that some of our words all fit on the one line. And next we want to add our photos. I'm going to format it all in a bit to make it look nicer. So we've got our ingredients. I'm going to just drag over to here. So that's our ingredients. And then how they get chopped up, which is part of the recipe down here, and then how it looks once it goes in the pan down here, and then we've got the finished product on the left. So these photos are a little bit big, so I'm going to highlight both of them. So hold down Shift and click on each one so they've both got blue dots, and we're just going to drag them and make them a little bit smaller here until they fit nicely on the page. We'll just move them up a little bit there. And so that's quite neat. Oops. Okay. Let's just move it down a little bit. Actually, we'll make them a bit smaller just so they're separate from the other text. Now you can align the text with the photos just by, when you move it, see how there's a green line now showing that it's aligned with the top edge of the photo there. And again, with this, we might just move this up a little bit. Sometimes when you're moving things, it is easier to use your arrow keys rather than your mouse. You might find it's a little bit smoother. And again, I'm just going to move that up a little bit so that it's aligned with the top of that text. It's a little bit high actually, but we'll just move that text up. All right, so that's pretty good. We can still do a bit of work. So this heading, Jamie's Rocky Road, we want that to be nice and stand out a lot. There's a really good font called Rockwell Bold, which is a bit of fun and bold. And I'm going to make it large for the heading, so maybe a 24-point font. I'm also going to make it a fun color. So Rocky Road's I'm going to click on Other to choose a font from my computer. And let's choose a pink, but we're going to define that, make it a bit darker because that pink's a little bit bright. So let's just make it a bit darker here. And then we're going to click on Add to Custom Colors and OK. And that's now a nice pink color. And I'm just going to move it up a little. If I want to make sure that text is aligned, I go Align Vertical Page Center just to make sure it's in the center of the page, which it looks like it is. There we go. I'll move it up again. So you can't go too close to the red dotted line, but I think where I am is fine. You should at least be about 5 or 6 millimeters from the red dotted line. So that's now looking a bit nicer. Next, we want to enhance the page. So we've got our recipe there, we've got our photos there. We could make it a bit more exciting. So let's look at backgrounds and frames, that sort of thing. So down the bottom of the screen, we've got backgrounds. For this, you don't want to have anything too bright because you want to be able to read your writing. You could either choose a plain background. So usually pastels are good because they don't detract too much from what you've got there. So again, we might go a pinky color. We could just add something like that to the page. Alternatively, there's a nice plainish background we have here. It's about, if you're in all of them, it's about this 1 to 6th one across. And that's just pretty simple, but it's got a bit of texture to it and doesn't detract too much from what you've got on your page. So something like that might be nice. If you don't like your background, you just want to have it plain, just where it says none down the bottom, you can just drag that back on and it'll be a white background. There are other ways to also enhance a page which may be better than changing the background, and one of these is frames. So there's all sorts of frames here, some really simple ones that might just enhance your page. Just this one that shows it's a bit like a photo, you could use something like that. Or if you want to get a little more fancy, I actually like the cute frames, these ones here. I could add this one here like that, and same with these ones. And I think that looks really good. Gives it a bit of fun. It's with the same color, the pink in it. It makes it look quite nice. And then you've also got scrapbook items. So scrapbooking is down the bottom again, and there's lots of different ones you can choose from. Probably for this sort of thing, the best ones to go for are celebration, where you've got sort of bottle, a couple of glasses clinking, or balloons if it was might have been a birthday cake or something that you're doing. There's a few little ones there, balloons there that might be useful. The other one that I find quite good is the scrapbooking backgrounds. And there's a few here you can choose from. One that just happens to work with this recipe because it is pink, which I'll show you. So I might add this one down here. I'll just make it a bit lower. And I just want to put the heading again of what it is. So I can add a text box, and we'll just move it down to there. And whoops, it doesn't like it because I'm going too close to the edge, so it keeps moving it up again for me. And I'm just going to write in there Jamie's, we'll just change the font to make it a bit bigger, say 20, and we'll change it to Rockwell regular. And that didn't work. Sorry, I have to make it, highlight it first. 20, there we go, and change it to Rockwell regular. And then I'm just going to pop that in the center of my thing so it looks cool. I'm going to add another text box. In fact, what I can do is just copy and paste this one and just change our text. We'll call it Rocky Road. And let's just center that. Again, it's quite useful to use your mouse, your keyboard here just to get it exact and put it in there. In fact, I think white would be a nice font color. So we'll change our color to white there and double click on this one and highlight it and change that to white. And I think we're looking pretty good. So I'm really happy with how this page looks. It's nice and fancy, didn't involve too much work, and we can save that as a page style so that we can use it again. And to do that, we click on the Page Styles tab at the bottom. We then click on the cog, and you can choose Save Left Page as Page Style, or Save Right Page as Page Style, or save the whole spread. So I'm going to save the spread in this case. I'm just going to call it Recipe 1, and then we won't put it under any specific category. We'll just put it under all, and then we click OK. And you'll see in a minute, it'll appear at the end of all my page styles. So if I was to go to pages 4 and 5 now, I could simply drag that on here, and then I might, unfortunately, it does keep the text there, but if I go to my next recipe, I could just drag the different things on and change the wording for the recipe. So I've got everything ready to go, and I could change the frames or whatever just to enhance it, but it is there ready to go for you. So that's a pretty good look on how to do a recipe where you've created the text yourself. Another one which I'll just quickly show you is sometimes you've got recipes where you might have found a handwritten one, or one that you've just taken a photo of in a cookbook, so you don't have to write out the recipe. So I'll just show you one. I'll add an individual photo that I have, and it was Rumbles. So we'll add this on. This is one that I'd handwritten when I was a lot younger. I haven't got the photos ready, so we won't worry about that for now. I need to actually make it and create so that I can create the photos. But here's the recipe. So I'll make it nice and big. You can just put that on the page like that. And just to enhance a little bit, maybe let's look at scrapbook items. Here's a cute one you could add. You could just put a little clipboard in the corner. We'll just make it a bit smaller. And stick that in the corner there, and it kind of just lifts it a bit so it doesn't look like a boring piece of paper. And again, you can, you could add a heading. You might want to make it something a bit more fun. You could add one of these frames, and you could write in there Naomi's Rumbles, add a text box and add Naomi's Rumbles. So there's lots of little things like that that you can do just to enhance your page, and add photos of the rumbles, or the person making the rumbles is nice to do. All sorts of ways you can do it. So hopefully that gives you a really good idea of how to create your own cookbook. If you do have any questions, please send those through now and I'll have a look at them in a minute. I'll just do a quick recap of what we've talked about. So creating your scrumptious recipe book, of course, the scrumptiousness does depend on you and your recipes, but hopefully you've all got some really great ones that you can use. I'm sure you do. So first thing, organize your recipes and photos into folders on your computer first. That's the hard work. Then decide how you want to order your pages. Choose a theme and product type. Add your recipes and photos to the album, and then use your backgrounds, mask frames, and scrapbook items to enhance each page. Don't forget, you can save your page styles so that you can use them again in the future. Okay, I'm just going to have a quick check to see if we have any questions. Won't be long. Okay, how do you access the text? Okay. Okay, first of all, sorry, somebody has asked how to access the text, to get the text onto the page. So as I've shown you, you simply need to add a text box to the page. So this button here, add a text box, and then you can, if you haven't written the recipe out, you can directly type into it, double click, and you can just type into it, or go to your Word document or wherever you've got the text and copy and paste it into your document. Another question was, does the book need to have an amount of pages divisible by 4? No, it does not. They have to be divisible by 2. If you do a lay flat book, there are some sizes that require them to be divisible by 4. I think it's just the very small sizes, but pretty much all the books are divisible by 2. So you need to have a back and a front. And apparently someone's concerned about how I've spelled scrumptious. I hope it's correct, but possibly not. So I do apologise if it's not. Alrighty, that's all the questions that we have. So just my usual speech before we go. Don't forget, you are welcome to call our customer service team if you need any assistance. We're here Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m, although there's usually someone here at 8 a.m. and usually till 6. So if you need someone a bit earlier or later. Our phone number is 1300 553 448. You can also reach us by email, which is service@albumworks.com.au, or you can talk to us via live